Thank you all for being here today and braving the storm. What could go wrong? A tropical storm could happen the day of your event. We're going to talk about some really challenging topics, but also I really believe that Louisiana is full of solutions and potential. I saw recently that we were ranked one of the worst states to move to. And part of that is because of our coastal challenges. All of us here are invested in our community, and there are so many challenges, and truly, I believe we're on the front lines on so many issues. There's a love of place, a uniqueness to Louisiana that is unparalleled to any place in the country, and we can garner that passion, garner that community that we're so good at, and really build a better future. I hope that this conversation today is a step towards that.
The article asserts that people are just leaving New Orleans for whatever reason. They didn't really state why. We're just leaving anyway, so we might as well the rest of us who's left, just pack up our things and go. It's basically how I read some of that as a non-scientific partner.
These show 1.5 feet of sea level rise on this one. This is 1.5, that's 4. 1.5, 4. The difference between them is much smaller than you might expect. The bulk of the coastal plains inundation shows up even at that lower end. And I chose those two numbers because that's, generally speaking, the low end and high end of what we might expect over the next 100 years. Here's what I take away from that. Recognizing uncertainties is not a reason to relax. It's not a reason to panic about that higher end scenario either, specifically. It means that the work ahead of us doesn't wait on resolving which one of those long-run scenarios materializes. Even the more conservative projection demands a large-scale response. We don't get the luxury of waiting to see which future arrives before we act. We have to take responsibility for that future. And if we don't, people working on bad information will try to decide that for us. We saw that after Katrina, and we saw that over the past few months. We need to get better about speaking publicly about the threats that we face, at steering our unwieldy political, economic, and legal systems towards adaptation that builds land, manages stormwater better, and moves huge quantities of sediment at scale. There's a real opportunity for growth and prosperity in all of that work, but only if we focus our ambitions and pursue just outcomes for our neighbors as well as ourselves.
The master plan is the big picture, right? Every year we come out with an annual plan, which is our annual spending authorization. And we try to split evenly between restoration and protections, up to certain dollar amounts on certain projects in our annual plan. That also includes a 3-year outlook for what we're thinking we will spend. That is the plan that goes to the legislature, goes through committee, gets approved, and then gets implemented. So that's what we do at a high level and how we do it.
What can you say about the sediment diversion cancellations?
Without getting into the merits of sediment diversions or the cancellation itself, that's been widely discussed. There was some consideration of cost overruns, impact to communities. We will never stop using the river. I think it's a great resource. I think everybody across the board believes that. It's one of our best sources of sediment. In fact, a lot of the projects that we're working on now will probably utilize river sediment for their borrow source. That's a very common thing in our projects. To date, we've used fresh water from the river in some of our smaller diversions. Think Davis Pond or Carnarvon, the Maurepas project. We have utilized and will continue to utilize the river.
I'm glad Josh, Peter, and Clay elevated the facts because there's real work happening. And there's real people, many of you who are in this room, who know that regardless of what a news outlet says, that it really isn't the reality that we face on the ground. There was a lot that we were holding when we saw that article, right? There are realities that we have to live with, but also the sensationalism and our experiences around PTSD and the loss and the emotions and people not carrying that. So I just want to elevate that because I know many of you are in this room either in person or virtually with that on your mind and on your spirit.
Greater New Orleans Inc., GNO Inc., we're the 10 Parish Regional Economic Development Organization. In 2014, we founded the Coalition for Coastal Resilience and Economy, CCRE. CCRE's mission is to have a voice for the business community to speak in support of CPRA's work. So every year we go to the Capitol to support the master plan, and we want to ensure that all of CPRA's opportunities that we see are engagement of the local business community actually in coastal contracting. We see great opportunity for entrepreneurs and enterprises in Southeast Louisiana to ultimately win coastal contracts. This is really an inevitable opportunity to create wealth in our region. From the $1.54 billion annual plan that was passed, that would create 10,806 direct jobs and $636 million in labor income. So we also want to help CPRA in building these coastal projects. To complement CPRA's work and try to advance CPRA's work and speed it up, we developed a project delivery study with tips and tricks and best practices to advance CPRA's project delivery in a manner that can catch up with sea level rise and meet the need that we all know exists. One major step forward that CPRA made last legislative session is their indefinite delivery at indefinite quantity state law. CPRA is able to issue a blanket contract to a firm and issue them task orders so they can go out and construct projects without having to go bid for every project. One other aspect of our work at GNO Inc. is our engagement of the entrepreneurial ecosystem at large through our Startup NOLA platform, and we run specific coastal contracting workshops for small businesses who might one day be able to become coastal contractors.
I have been helping businesses grow their ventures. My focus is sustainability, profitability, and resiliency. Our businesses, they just do their business. They don't develop their risk mitigation strategies. 30-40% don't recover and don't reopen after a major impact. They don't recover because they are out of cash. So what I try to do is to focus on all of the small things that happen in their business on a day-to-day basis. It's no longer about, hey, it's storm season, it's time to get your plan ready. No. Business impacts happen every day. Some are small, some are large. What we try to do is evaluate, identify the financial consequences of a potential impact event. Looking at their business, figure out where you're vulnerable, what do we need to do? How can we create a plan to manage the unpredictable financial impact events? The key for them is to incorporate risk mitigation strategies every single day in their business. They're basically diversifying their business. And so what I encourage the businesses to do is to take a look at everything you're doing and how can we diversify what you're doing? How can we create another revenue stream for you? They need to be healthy business models. It's about them being business financially resilient. I had a client I helped. I said, you guys need financial resiliency, so I want you to make sure you do that 6 months of savings. And after Katrina, they called me and they said, thank you so much. We not only survived, but we did not die because we've got the savings, we had our insurance, we were able to sell our building and then move on. Educating and training our small businesses is really the key to success for them to be successful. We can't afford them just closing down and leaving and doing other things. But so many of them really need the support of the entrepreneurial ecosystems. You can do all these other things, but if we don't have a strong economy with our small businesses, where are we?
Science can't tell us what to value, but it can tell us the consequences of our choices. And consensus starts when everyone has access to the same information and recognizes that every option, including doing nothing, has trade-offs. The question isn't whether there are impacts. The question is which future we want to invest in and whether long-term benefits outweigh the costs.
The one thing we can agree on is that we do have to move forward with all urgency and haste.
In the area of large-scale coastal projects, we need them to be science-informed and backed up by good information, be able to make some clear decisions on it. The public needs more democratic control over how those projects are built and where they are built and how they are built. We have to trust the public and the people who live in these areas that are going to be transformed to be participants in that process. I'm talking about direct democratic control over the decision-making. Then there's a clear public mandate, not the state legislature voting on it, people voting on it. That's harder to reverse. We could have more predictable project outcomes if we take the time on the front end to do that.
What if we came together a community and said, we're going to make sure Louisiana stays. We're going to make sure every child has access to good education. Wouldn't businesses come here? Wouldn't people move here? If they saw that collaboration, if they saw that unity, if they saw the solutions-oriented approach, what if that was our brand? And I look forward to working with everybody to help make that happen. Thank you so much for that vision.